They say the world is broken, and maybe they're right. But what they never talk about is how quietly it breaks. Not in a loud, shattering scream, but in the small moments we all ignore. The silence when someone needed to be heard, the glance away when someone needed to be seen, the subtle betrayal of a person not living up to their own potential. The world doesn't fall apart in an instant. It dissolves, drop by drop, in the spaces between what we say and what we do. But still, you're here, watching this, listening, breathing, and that means something. It means you haven't given up. Not yet. Maybe you've been bruised by life. Maybe the people you trusted turned their backs when you needed them most. Maybe the mirror has become a place you fear instead of a place you confront. But even so, you're still here. And that's the beginning of everything. The world should be perfection, not because it ever will be, but because aiming for anything less is a betrayal of what we could become. The pursuit of perfection isn't about flawless execution, it's about honorable effort. It's about standing up every day, even when your knees shake and your voice trembles, and declaring that you will not let this world rot from the inside while you stand idly by. It's about taking responsibility, even for things that aren't your fault. That's the power move nobody talks about. Not walking away, but staying when it would be easier to leave. The silent warrior doesn't shout. He doesn't ask for applause. He just moves, decisively, with quiet discipline. He bleeds with dignity. He loves without asking for anything in return. And when the world gives him 1,000 reasons to fold, he becomes the one reason it doesn't collapse. You think the world is unfair? You're right. You think life doesn't care about you. It doesn't. But here's the twist. Neither does gravity, yet you learn to walk. Neither does fire, yet you learn to cook your food and warm your home. So stop waiting for fairness and start forging meaning. Start becoming the kind of person who refuses to let the darkness swallow the light. And understand this, strength isn't born from ease. It is shaped in friction, carved in resistance, and baptized in chaos. You want peace? Then earn it. You want love? Then give it, even when it's not returned. You want truth? Then speak it, especially when your voice shakes. Because the greatest tragedy isn't the pain you carry, it's what dies inside you when you pretend it doesn't exist. The world teaches you to be numb, but numbness is not a solution. It is the quiet death of the soul. So feel, deeply, painfully, and then rise. Rise with that pain and turn it into something sacred. Because the most powerful person in the world is not the one who avoids the storm, but the one who learns to dance inside of it. You weren't born to be comfortable. You were born to become, to evolve, to destroy the lie that you are small, powerless, unworthy. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the names they called you when they were too afraid to face their own inadequacies. You are potential, wrapped in skin and stitched together with memory and desire. And if you let that truth in, even for a moment, you'll never see yourself the same way again. The world will try to shrink you, because small people feel safer when everyone else is small too. But you must resist. Resist the urge to play small, to dim your light, to conform. Stand tall, stand unshakable, not because you are invincible, but because you are willing to be vulnerable. That's real power. Not pretending you don't feel, but choosing to feel anyway and keep going. There's something sacred about a person who knows their pain and refuses to use it as a weapon. There's something untouchable about someone who has been to hell and returned with empathy, not vengeance. And you could be that person. You already are, in the places you don't talk about. In the nights you survived when no one knew how close you were to giving up. In the dreams you keep buried under sarcasm and distraction. I see you. Not the mask, not the act, not the curated image. You. the raw, unfiltered you, the one who wants more, the one who aches for something real. That version of you is sacred, untouchable, and maybe, just maybe, the world becomes a little more perfect every time you let that version of yourself lead. Not the broken version, not the bitter version, but the version that remembers what it means to care deeply and act boldly anyway. That version of you isn't just surviving, it's becoming a force that shapes everything around it. People won't understand it. Some will leave, let them. Some will mock it, let them. But a few, just a rare, sacred few, will see that fire in your eyes and recognize it because they carry the same fire, and together you'll move mountains. But it starts with you, here, now, with a decision. A simple one: no more hiding, no more waiting for permission, no more hoping the world. And so you rise, not because someone gave you a map, not because the path is clear, but because something inside of you refuses to remain on your knees a moment longer. That's how revolutions begin. Not with noise, not with banners, but with a quiet refusal to keep pretending that this is all life has to offer. You rise with cracked bones and calloused hands. You rise with a chest full of sorrow and a mind full of chaos. And yet you rise. That's the miracle they never talk about. Not the man who won, but the man who kept showing up when everything inside him screamed to run. That is where greatness is born, in the stillness of effort that no one applauds. The late nights, the unanswered calls, the silent battles where you're both the hero and the villain in your own story. And somewhere in that tension, somewhere in that raw, unscripted mess, is the truth. You are not meant to be perfect. You are meant to become undeniable, a presence, a force, a monument to the possibility of what a human being can endure and still walk forward with dignity. You want the world to change? Start with your reflection. You want peace? Be the kind of person whose inner world is not dictated by the chaos outside of them. You want purpose? Stop outsourcing your meaning to people who've never even bothered to ask who you are. You owe it to yourself to find out what you're capable of, not just when you're winning, but when you're at your lowest, your most human. That's the paradox. You find your power in your powerlessness. You become strong by admitting your weakness, by facing your fears without flinching, by standing in front of the mirror and saying, "I see you. I know what you've been through, and I still believe in you." That's not weakness, that's war. And every day you choose to believe in yourself, despite what life throws at you, you win another battle in a war no one else can see. Because you are not just living, you are becoming. And becoming requires the death of who you used to be. It requires sacrifice, shedding the comfort of mediocrity for the burden of greatness. And it is a burden. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It costs everything to live a life of truth, of alignment, of authenticity. But what you get in return is something most people will never touch. Freedom. Real freedom. The kind of freedom that comes from knowing that even if the world collapses, you will not. Because your foundation was never out there, it was always within. You built it in silence, in struggle, in every moment you chose not to quit. And now you carry that foundation with you. It's in your walk, your voice, your presence. People feel it. They might not understand it, but they respect it, because energy doesn't lie. And when your energy is forged in fire, it becomes something that can't be faked or replicated. So don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't soften your edges for people who only know how to bleed on others. You weren't meant to be palatable. You were meant to be powerful. And power, real power, is not volume. It's presence. It's not the ability to control others, but the discipline to control yourself, to move with intention, to act with honor, to be the kind of person that even in silence teaches others how to live. That is what it means to lead, not with titles or status, but with the weight of who you are when no one is watching. You want legacy? Then stop chasing attention and start cultivating substance. Stop trying to go viral and start trying to become vital. Vital to your people, vital to your principles, vital to the mission that your soul has carried long before your body ever entered this world. Because deep down, you know why you're here. You've always known. The world tried to make you forget, tried to convince you that survival was enough. But you're not here to survive. You're here to remind the world what it means to live fully, boldly, unapologetically, even if it costs you everything, especially if it costs you everything. Because in the end, all that remains is who you chose to be in the moments when it mattered most. Not the accolades, not the numbers, not the applause, just the quiet, undeniable truth that you became the kind of person you would respect, no matter who was watching. And if you can say that when it's all over, then you won. You already won, because the world should be perfection. And while it may never be, your life can be the loudest declaration that we never stop trying.